Hello and welcome back to the episode of Terrafirmagreg. Last episode I'll show you my production of a fluid and stuff. Today let's do some walk around. So let's go. First things first, here we have our greenhouse. Let's make some food for us, and it's going to finish right now. Previously, if you remember correctly, it said the tooltip that currently to some errors, it requires rotten food. However, as you can see here, it's not. It's not rotten. It is actually pretty healthy. So you can actually use this to grow food. And in my opinion, if you want my opinion on the best food to grow here to quit your hunger, I'm gonna let this cycle end here and we come back. Now, as I said last episode, this is starting to be recorded after it, but probably gonna be ended way later on. One of the many problems on this game here was how to move a specific type of items and quantities over a distance without losing too much in the process. Like, I don't want to fill to the brain this circuit assembly. That's why into my older video of the circuit crafters, I showed that I was using robot arms to move items between the crates to fill the machine the correct amount without too much loss. That's the keys of it. But then I started walking to my area down here. But I had to do this, having 2 crates. Having 2 crates, one to receive the one material, another to receive the other material, and using robot arms to insert the correct amount inside. It worked quite fine, but as you can guess, it created some troubles. I also use it to keep a certain amount of items. Like one here holds the sulfur, and the other one holds the rubber pulp, and here they making the goods and then send back the fluid or item, whatever. As you might expect, things start to get a little bit out of hand very soon. This case not so much because this is more than one item, so it's okay to have more. But this case here, an entire wood crate just for a single item. Because unfortunately, we do have the buses from the multi-block, but different from the Greg Tech 5, where those could be inserted and removed as you like. Even if I go here, but I have this output, you see, this input bus here, and place a conveyor on it, it's not going to remove anything. So I had to use those chests as buffer. Like I have here an input bus to keep this amount of polyethylene ingots, because I'm not going to automatically remove it. If I want it, I have to use a chest like here. But then something just click in my mind that I can make this to store items, because I want to create a circuit crafter that don't over create things that are not using. So instead of using this here, I can just using an army to set an amount of it. And they work as I showed before. So I was, why didn't I think of this before? It's so obvious. But then something even more interesting come into my mind. Can I use it robot armies not to take it from the inventories, but also to limit the acceptance? Because as you see, you need to be close to actually be able to pull or export. And if I just told the thing to export certain amounts, it's not going to actually work. I have here an chest here, another here. Well, not so empty. Anyway, if I put the arm here and set it to keep exactly 1 and toss the torch, you see that it don't work. You don't go like this. Even if I put the filter on it. Just keep going. Because the pipe don't have inventory. So you cannot pull or remove from it. And that was a bummer. However, I tried to go into a different approach. What if instead of sending, I put it on the receiving ending? Because we have the little thingy here that eatings and foods will only move as specified by the cover and its filter. So if I say to keep exactly this amount of torches in the import, that it only allows it to enter, and I put some torches here in a conveyor, it actually works. I can use the robot armies as entrance limitations because the pure filter doesn't have any configuration. It does work when you have a right amount of into a crate, into a machine, because they have inventory. But things that don't have inventory or have a self kind of work don't work like that. For example, I don't know if you ever notice it, but the input buses has a kind of inbuilt conveyor that pull items from it. If I have here torches, if it's facing the torches, well, it should actually pull it, but it's not. Okay, it's making me pass. It's embarrassing me. Okay. So instead of doing this thing here, where I have to put a crate besides to receive a stack and only output, I can simply do something like this. I already have a filter to receive the poly stuff here. Let's wait to get another one before I continue. Do we have it? Yes, it. Now let's disconnect the pipe to avoid the problems. I'm going to remove my filter on it. Now let's put an army. Sulfur and poly. And then put the here, keep exactly, put the correct amount of items, 9 poly and 1 sulfur, and import. Now let's remove this here. Don't forget to take out this one here, of course. As you see, empty. But if I connect it, 1 entry. Now I don't need this anymore. We now have more space. So now I can do everything around here. So these are gonna actually change how I'm going to do stuff around here. Instead of having crates, I can actually have arms to store one item and send them directly into the machine using robot arms. Of course, this is going to be extremely expensive to make a robot army for every input of a certain amount of items. But let's be honest that it is a lot more interesting than this case here. I made this setup here to avoid the problem of machines getting too full of one item and not the other one, like this basic mixer here. It's to receive gabbro and clay. I can remake this one here now. Let's connect here. Take the filter, put the robot army. Keep it exactly. Put the filter back. How is the recipe anyway? Three gravel for 1 clay. So 3 gravel, 1 clay. You only enter. You can only into this direction. Let's take the army from this one here. So I don't supply this one. Let's take everything out. And connect this one here. Ooh. And connect. And import. 3 gravel. Well. I don't know why this is not working. I really don't know. Maybe the game don't like to have two. In this case, I'll just go Leave this alone. Gonna fix this amount of dust later on. So that discovery actually made me somewhat happy, because this means that my plan to make a very bulky circuit assembler don't need to be that like that. I can do it more beautiful. But then I started to think about it if I could do the same thing with, because if you remember in the past and my explanation why I have so many drones, if I try to actually, let's take this one here, try to just set a filter into an open pipe like this and put any empty drone, it's not going to obey the filter. And I gave up on it. However, I noticed that the electric pump has the same feature as the conveyors and other stuff that is to make the fluids that pass through it to obey the filter. So if I put this one here, you're going to see that nothing happens, because for some reason it's trying to pull fluids from the pipe, the oxygen from the pipe, but it don't work. However, if I change this to fluid, it's going to be extracted or instead independently of the cover mode, as long as it is the filter. So fluids can come and go. And by your surprise, it now works. And even work with pipes. Oxygen. And if I put a bigger pipe here, like this quadruple, only oxygen will pass. But as you can see, they still go back and forth because they can. So with now this knowledge, I can rebuild all my extraction of fluids. Yeah, as you can probably notice my joy in my voice as talk about the remaking everything again. But this time, don't forget to actually set it up to only allows output. So now this is working as before. Instead of having a drone, I have a pipe. So it means that I can actually do something different. That is to remove it from here. Place it here. With the filter, select the correct mode here, and there it is. It got a lot more cleaner now. Yeah, going to need to remake this. Well, at least it's going to be fast. And this actually helped me with some troubles here. Like here that I have it in my non-pipe here, and here I only want water to come into this place here. So I use it at run. Now I can just replace with something else. This means that I now can actually use more than one non-pipe to move fluids around, and I'll be able to actually easily extract them or even block some of it. I could, if I wanted, to put the biomass and the wood tar into the pipe, and then just use a pump with a filter blocking it to flow to limit them to this area here, so they can go here and come here. That's nice. But then I also remember the function of the arm itself with the regulator, because as I said before, I have put this drone here only to need to be able to set a regulator to only put around this amount of fluid on it. I can do the same thing with the regulator. The only very different stuff about the army and the filters is that unfortunately fluid filters don't allow me to change the value here. If I click with the button to increase value, it just deletes. So I cannot actually use it. For it, I have to do the boring way of getting the correct amount into a cell. Like this water here is only 800. So if I use it to mark the water, it's going to say 800. So that's the only boring part. So to be actually do what I want, I will have to need 2 drones or take the correct amount from any vessel. Let's put here a regulator. Keep the exact amount of once I put my filter, it's actually it's going away. Don't get confused. Oh. Ah, crap. I also forgot to have to crouch and click. As you see, the correct amount is inserted. Now I have to pick one universal cell and collect it. Now we are good. Let's empty this here. First we fill, then we empty. Now let's remove this here. Get the regulator. Put it here. Keep it exactly. Import. Put the filter. Delete this. Click here. And 144. So try to right click it and it deletes. Control also deletes. There is no way to manually edit the amount here. Now I can just run a pipe. And even though it's connected, as you can see, it's not filling more than this amount here. And if you're wondering why it is 144, is because this process here to make ethanol, to make the ethylene, is going to give me 1 bucket of diluted sulfuric acid, and that converts back into 2/3 of it. So I think this is actually wrong. This is actually wrong, I need to fix it later. But for now it is this. So now, if instead of using micropipes for everything, I can just do that. And my game is lagging by a bunch. Yeah, it seems that my alpacas are the one that are lagging me by a lot. I think I might just get rid of it because I don't need the wool for much stuff anymore. My cows still I need for the milk. Make the delicious cheese. Or not, because as I showed before, there is always a way to duplicate. So even just one cow is enough to give me milk for a good amount of time. So now I discovered that I can actually keep the set amount of items into machines, and I can actually use pipes to transfer fluid to other pipes, and also keep a certain amount of fluids inside the machines. So yeah, that's gonna demand some reform on it. Isn't that wonderful when you are just finishing one of these big reforms and you finally you need to do a reform of the reform? But anyway, you need to start making a lot of robot arms. But at this point, tin, copper, steel, even the circuits are so cheap. I have a recipe here that gives me 3 circuits. So for just a little bit of these materials here, I can get 3 microprocessors. And later on, when I get into the EV, I'll be able to make 6. And just Jesus, this is make things so much cheaper. But the problem is that it need to be extreme voltage. We are into the circuit craft of medium, so it is 2 tiers above. Not going to happen so soon. And the regulator is just the pumps are the same thing. For now, the price is inexpensive. And I can make the regulator just a pump and 2 circuits. It's not expensive at all. I have 1, 2 copper mines around here. I have another one here. I believe I have even more somewhere here. At the north, I have a big vein of zinc here to collect. I have 2. I only marked this one because there is actually 2 veins of zinc around here. Another down there. Zinc, iron, copper, tin, zinc. It's not a problem. So making these basic materials is just a question of time. It cost me almost nothing. Now that I have a way to generate silicon rubber and normal rubber indefinitely, even the cables are actually pretty okay. And there we have it. We have 3 pumpkins for my farm here. This, in my opinion, is one of the best food to just eat you can make into the greenhouse. Why? Because you can simply cut your pumpkins. Yeah, I know it's short to smash, but if you smash, you only get 4 pumpkin chunks. But if you cut with a knife on the top, you gain 5 of it. Pretty good. You get 15. Don't seem like much. But with the help of our super chest here, we can do that little trick. Let's make one using 5 to make a super salad, super sweet salad. And let's make 7 of a single one. Very, very small. Even got some extra here. And I put the best one first, the small ones later, and now I would have 11 super sweet salads. These are gonna keep me going for a very good amount of time. And this nutrition here is a huge BS. But let's not talk about food again. You're probably tired of me doing food stuff. You don't care, do you? And a little trick that I discovered. I already showed you that it's possible to kind of make it a buggy here using the refrigerator. If you put it inside, it's going to get the refrigerating status. But if you take another food and replace it and take it out, it's going to keep it. Sorry. If you replace it with a food that is already inside and take it out, it's going to keep the refrigerating status. So now it's 5 months before it goes bad. However, this only works while it is into your inventory and you have not reloaded. If you put this refrigerating into anything, it's not actually going to contribute, because with this you can actually make some kind of absurd long times. Because if I take this salad here and place here into the cellar, that also increase lifespan, it's now going to take you 1 year to spoil. But no, once I reload, the game is going to calculate all the time it has passed as double timing, and it's going to rotten. However, if you put it on your bag that you are using as backpack in your character here, for some reason, time here almost does not flow. It goes very slowly. But I have this maze here. It still have 1 month of lifetime for a very long time, and it has the same quality of it. Refrigerating. So maybe time only pass here when you open it. I try to exploit put them inside the other backpacks I have, but they are rotten normally. They need to be with your character to count as active. I did not try to actually put inside and seal into a large vessel and put into my backpack. I did not go that meta, because now, as I show you, getting food is very easily. I believe 10 bowls of a super sweet salad will last last enough time for the greenhouse to make the next pumpkin batch. 800 seconds using fertilizer. So I guess this is going to be it. I was nothing wanting to make an episode of me yapping about. But well, it happens. So let's go. So again, this was On God. Thank you so much for watching.